I've had boobs for almost the entirety of my life. Because when did we get boobs? We get boobs like around, what is that, like 10, 11 or so, maybe 12. So yes, for the majority of my life. And yesterday I did not, I was so excited to take a shower because I hadn't showered in 3 days actually, because Friday to Saturday, Sunday, yeah, 3 days. And I did not know how to navigate that shower, to be honest with you, with these new breasts. First of all, I was scared to touch them. When there was like, I had to pull off, because they gave me the surgical bra, which I do have on now, you can see it here, and there was some gauze which I had to pull off, and then you know when the secretions get stuck to the gauze, you know, like you can see like a little bit of pulling. So I was scared I was taking my whole nipple off. It was Hi guys, it's Marsha Gauntlet Kirby and welcome back to Brownface TV. Today I decided to do a part 2 of my breast reduction, I guess it's vlog story. I have a whole bunch of clips recorded, but they're not consistent, and I promised myself I would not say too much. I have to cut that out actually in my videos. So for this one, I wanted to kind of answer some questions that I mainly got on Instagram. Actually, a lot of people reached out to me, messaged me, DM'd me about the surgery. A lot of people were looking to get it done, interestingly enough. Now, when okay, so I didn't do too much research because I wasn't planning on getting this done. Well, not really. I did 2019, around October 2019, I went and I found a plastic surgeon down here that was part of my health group, and I went in for a consultation just to kind of see what he thought, what he said. Of course, he thought I was a very good candidate for the surgery, but I am not a big fan of surgery, and I know you're probably like, who is a fan of surgery? I know people who will have surgery in a heartbeat if it's going to make them look better, if it's going to make them feel better. I will sit here in pain and just not even want to have the surgery, and it has happened, and I ended up having to have emergency surgery. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, yeah, so I was not really, it's like I spoke about having the surgery before. It's funny, I kept saying this, be careful, not be careful what you speak, you have to just be watchful. Well, be careful, because as we know, life and death are in the power of the tongue. Before I had children, I kept telling my husband, and I was a nice size, I think I was a double D when I met my husband before I had kids, and they were still nice and sitting up. And I kept saying that as soon as I have kids, I'm gonna get a breast reduction, I'm gonna have it. And he would just always look at me like I was crazy, because he is very much a breast man. He was like, you don't need the surgery. I had the kids, and it's funny, I asked him again, especially after going to the plastic surgeon. I was like, what do you think? Do you think I should pursue this? And he was kind of like, hemming and hawing. So I knew that, you know, my body had changed. I had 2 kids. I breastfed the second one more than I did the first one. But the second child, I went much longer with breastfeeding, and that has an effect on your body, and aging, of course, as well. So before I started having kids, like I said, I was a 34 double D, nice, they sat up. After kids, after all of that, I was a 34H, and they were no longer sitting up. They were to my navel. I mean, literally, they were on my navel. I'm not going to show you now, and it has actually kind of disappeared, but where you can see was it dark? It was the darkness that sat under my breast area from where the breast hung down. Like, they would, this sounds so funny now, lift them up, especially when I went to the doctor or had to get a mammogram, lift them up, and you can see there was just how do you say, it was like an outline. You can see like an outline. I don't know if you can see this, where you see, look at that, where my boobs used to hang. They used to hang so low, so this here is almost it's textured, and can you see that? Yeah, it's texture because of all the years that they've just been hanging, and I guess the sweat and everything going on. It's changed the texture of my skin. So I don't know what can be done to rectify that. I'll ask if they have any remedies. Anyway, moving on. Let me get into some of these questions. Okay, so first, I did say that I went to the doctor in 2019. I kind of put it away because, and that was one of the first questions, did I have any neck pain, back pain? So for the, I would say I didn't have any really pain. I'm an anxious person. I suffer from anxiety, panic. Another story for another day, and most of that tension is in my neck. So most of what I was feeling, I figured it was from that. I really didn't have any pain. I didn't have to take any Tylenol, painkillers. I was okay with that. I did have the grooves in my shoulders, clearly like dark grooves in my shoulders. I think those have kind of lightened up a little bit now as well. So when he saw me, when the doctor, the plastic surgeon saw me, he said, yes, you're a perfect candidate for this. But he said, because you're having no pain, I am going to have a hard time showing the insurance that they should pay for this. So I was like, okay, it's fine. It wasn't meant to be. Fast forward to, it's funny how things work. Fast forward to 2020, shut down, because I was going to get paperwork together to see if I can get this done, to get it done, to see if they would pay for it to get it done. And shutdown happened because March 2020 came around, and I was like, you know what, I am not doing any of this. Around May of 2020, I started to get this pain down my neck and into my back. Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. So the pain was constant. I went to my doctor. They said, okay, let's schedule you for, I had to get an MRI, and I also, they wanted me to go to a physical therapist because I have, like, you know, and as we get older, that happens, just degenerative disc in my neck. So I had to go to physical therapy, and it even started to affect my lower half. It was crazy. And I was like, what is going on? Where's this pain coming from? Like, why is this happening to me now? And it so happened, like, months into this uncomfortable feeling, one of my friends who lives in Philly, she called me, and she was a little bit taller than me, but her breasts, I think they were about a 36. I think she moved into an I, and she was like, guess what? She had a reduction. Then she started to tell me that she started to get, because she didn't have any pain either. It was just very uncomfortable, you know, to lift up these heavy breasts that are in front of you. And anyway, she was like, she started to have like this pain that was shooting down her back, her neck, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think that's what's happening to me. And they sent her right away to be approved for the reduction. She had a reduction, end of story. So I was like, whoa, maybe I should go back. But I was kind of scared to go out because, you know, COVID was upon us, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. It's fine. Anyway, I decided to go to physical therapy. I started to feel better. And I was going to have a procedure done and something to help with the pain in my neck. And something told me to ask that doctor if he thought my heavy breasts were contributing to it. And he said, yes, he definitely thought so. Anyway, continued with physical therapy for about a year. I was even going to acupuncture, and I started to feel a little bit better, but something told me, let me go back to the plastic surgeon I went to in 2019 just to kind of see if there are any new developments. I had changed insurance, and that's what he said too. I have state insurance, and he said the insurance that I had at the time, they were it was very difficult to get things approved. The new insurance that I was going to, because I was about to switch insurance carriers that December of 2019, he said it was going to be even harder with that new insurance. I was like, okay, anyway, whatever, you know. I always say I serve a God that could do exceedingly and abundantly above anything I could think or ask. So I go in August of last year, 2021. So this is almost 2 years. Is that almost 2 years later? Yeah, almost 2 years later. I go in to see him, and I think, I don't know if the boobs were hanging, my breasts were hanging lower. I don't know what was going on because I had lost weight. So maybe I had lost weight over COVID because it was a difficult time. Okay, I go back to see the doctor. He goes through all the motions again. He said, okay, I'm gonna push it through to the insurance company. He looked through my file. He was like, oh my God, you had a year of physical therapy, you had acupuncture. He said, all you need to do now is get a letter from your PCP. And she knew what was going on with she sent me for the physical therapy. She knew what was going on, so she happily wrote me a letter. So this was, let's say, end of July, July 2021. August came and they were like, the insurance approved it. They fully approved it. And I was like, oh my gosh. She said, okay, are you ready to schedule? And I'm like, wait, what? I'm starting, it was starting my first official year of school last September. And I was like, yeah, there's no way, because it was 4 to 6 weeks recovery time and we were slated to go on vacation. But if I knew now what I knew then, I would have gotten it done, because the surgery wasn't that bad at all. Like the pain, the surgery, I don't like to have surgery, but the recovery of the surgery wasn't that bad at all. And I haven't even gotten into these questions. To answer the question, I wasn't having any pain up until 2020, but for the most part, no pain. Even after having my kids, no pain. What size am I now? So I went from a 34H to now a 34CD. The bras I have been buying are 34 double D, just because I like my breasts to be fully covered. I like full coverage bras, and the bra that I was wearing before, the brand Walk-All, I stand for Walk-All, okay, ride or die. And I find myself still buying those as well, but I'm playing around with other bras. One of the things I was looking forward to was being able to go to Target and get like a $10, knockabout bra. Like all my bras before, they were $55 and upwards if I didn't find them on sale. For me, I buy a 34 double D because I just like the whole breast to be in the bra. Okay, don't mind me, I look a little crazy. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, I don't know about getting flagged or anything on YouTube. I didn't want to get flagged. And normally I would not come on like this. This is like a vacation look, so I'm trying on this dress because I did buy it for a vacation. But I wanted to show you guys how everything look. This is so weird. How everything looked. Like you really can't see any scarring. I don't know if you really can't. I mean, if you lift it up, you can. And there's really minimal scarring on this. This is my right breast. This one you can see a little bit here, but here you can't tell. It's not a keloid, but you can see if you touch it, you can see that it's raised. If you feel it, if you feel it, you can see that it's raised underneath, but that's fine. Nobody's really getting under there anyway. Well, except for my husband. And even on the sides, I did not shave my arms yet. My underarms, like right here, I can feel it, but you can't see it because the way it's like the boob almost like covers it, and I'm just happy that they fell, like they look, because at first they looked to me like implants, and I was like, did they? Because I've heard that when you get a breast reduction, sometimes to give it the volume, I don't know, I read it somewhere, but that's not what happened to me. But they were so like perky, and of course they're still sitting up or better than they were, but they kind of fell a little bit, so they look more natural, like I didn't have anything done at all. So this is how they look now. I'm very happy with the size, how they are. I am about a D, but I like the way how double D bras fit. I prefer full coverage bras. So I've been buying double Ds, but I'm a D. When I've got measured, I am measured recently. I am a 34D. Am I happy with my size? I am very happy with my size now. I did suffer. I'm gonna say, because I don't like to use this, I'm in school now for mental health, and I don't like to use this word lightly, but I looked it up and I saw that this was something that happened. This was something that was normal when you get a reduction, but I did suffer from a little bit of depression. Just looking at myself, it was such a difference. I felt like I didn't look like myself. I didn't feel too feminine I didn't feel feminine. I grew up having large breasts all my life, and even though I knew I was going in for a reduction and lift, it just you don't know until after the surgery. And we know that a lot of who we are is wrapped up in how we look. My body had changed a lot. after I had kids. The doctor even told me, he said I had no volume whatsoever. There are people who have large breasts, but there is still volume there. There's still some lift to them. Mine were literally at my navel, and I'm a tall girl, okay? I asked my husband, he was like, no, oh my God, you look fine. But it was just my perception of myself because I've had large breasts all my life. But right now I am very, very happy. I'm hoping they stay this size because, and that's a question here. They do tend to, well, my doctor told me that menopause can kind of make them grow back. Some people, their breasts do grow back, and menopause would be one of those reasons. And you guys know I am in my 40s. As for the recovery, that was a question. Recovery is about 6 to 8 weeks. The first 2 weeks you can't drive, you can't lift, you can't bend, so you will need somebody to help you. I couldn't wash my hair, so they told me to make sure I wash my hair, get it braided, whatever I need to do before the surgery, because I couldn't even lift my hands above my head. So that was about 2 weeks. I was out of work for 4 weeks. I worked from home for 2 of those weeks. After the first week, like I said, I really wasn't in any pain. The first 2 days after the surgery, I would say maybe the first week, I felt like a pressure, like something was like sitting on my chest, but that dissipated after about a week. It was just the maneuvering, because like I said, I couldn't really do anything with my hands, lifting, bending, or anything like that. You can resume the gym, your normal activities, after about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, what method did I have? So for some reason I thought I had the lollipop method. Like I think I said this before, I didn't really research, which is not really good, because I just felt that if I did research after the fact, which is funny. I usually research before. I didn't really research the surgery because I didn't want to deter myself, because once I set myself to have it, I just didn't want to chicken out. And I know myself, because even up until I think maybe like a month before the surgery, I was like, you know what, maybe I should just cancel this. Maybe I just go my whole life and live with this, because it's funny, the pain had stopped. So I was like, you know what, I don't really need to go through with this. It's okay. Anyway, okay, so when they called me in August, they wanted to set up the surgery, and I was like, no, because I didn't know what the surgery was going to entail, what the recovery was going to, what that was going to be like. So I said, you know what, December, I work for higher ed, and December we get the days between Christmas and New Year's off. Actually, from New Year's Eve, starting from New Year's Eve, we get that off. So it's about like 11, 12, it amounts to about 11, 12 days. So I just tacked on, I think another week onto that, a week of, at the FMLA, and then I worked from home for another 2 weeks, and we weren't going back into the office anyway. They decided to let everyone work from home because there was another spike in COVID cases this 2022, and I had the surgery done. I had the surgery done December 17th, 2021. So everything worked out in that aspect. I researched after the fact. My girlfriend, who I spoke about earlier, she said make sure you get the lollipop method. I don't know what they were going to do. So apparently I had the anchor method, and the anchor method is when they go right under the nipple, and then they go and they cut under the breast. So that's what I had. I think the lollipop is just up and they do something to the nipple. I'm not too sure. I just know what's going on here, but that's the anchor method. I think that one, they said the anchor method takes a longer recovery period, and I think they usually do that one when there's much more mass to remove. Anyway, I don't know, maybe I did have a lot of mass because they did hang pretty low. So and he had to also lift them up, and they are nice and lifted now. Scarring, that's another question. So scarring, did I incur any scarring? I do have, but it's minimal, and I was nervous about that because I think I do have a video up about this. I had to have hernia surgery after my second child. My stomach was torn to shreds, and I do have a bit of keloiding around the area. It's not a lot, but yeah, it's not a lot. So I was nervous that will be here by and I could hide my stomach area, but I was nervous, like if I wear, because I love to wear bikinis, if I wear a bikini, you'll see the scar. You really can't see anything. When I went in for my checkup, even he himself was amazed that there was really minimal scarring. Like if you touch it, you can feel like ridges, but you really can't see anything. It's not that dark. And after the surgery, he told me to make sure I rub with cocoa butter. I have a big tub, it's somewhere over here. Rub with cocoa butter day and night, and I'm still doing that. Like, yeah, I'm not playing any games because I'm trying to go on vacation. I'm trying to get to somebody's beach twice before the year is out. So minimal scarring for me, but there is a little feel. And if you lift up the, like they are lifted, but if you kind of like raise your hands, like only really me and my husband, my kids, whoever is really up close and personal on me, you're able to see it. Now, the question that I asked myself to anyone, and the question that I have gotten, did I regain feeling in the nipples? Because that is one thing that they tell you, that you may lose feeling, sensation in your nipples. Now, my nipples were my the portal where I would get aroused. So, you know, we're all grown here. That was the area I would get aroused during sexual intercourse. The main area that I would get arousal from. And I was very nervous about that. When I came out of surgery, like the few days after, it was December. So I felt everything. They were super, super sensitive. But then after a while, and then it's funny because after I came out of surgery, my cycle was about to start. So they were super sensitive. And then once my cycle ended, I noticed, now let me go back. So this is my right, so my left nipple was much more sensitive. This right here was bae, more than my right breast, my right nipple. After the surgery, I really couldn't feel anything in the left, and I was just like, oh gosh. I knew this was something that can happen, so I kind of prepared myself for it. But even though I still prayed, like, you know, I'm praying for the feelings to resume. This breast, my right breast, had extra sensation, so it's almost like they shifted. So this one I still had sensation, even, you know, after the cycle ended. So I was like, okay, that's fine. At least I have sensation back in one. It's sensation back in one. It's okay. As when I went to see the doctor, I did ask him about that. He said it'll take time, and I saw that online too. Some people didn't regain, and then there's some people that they said it took, I think, up to about a year, like after 6 months, from 6 months to a year. I am about June. I just made 6 months out, and last month, I think either April or May, that's when I noticed that feelings are back in both nipples. So praise Jesus. I didn't really research too much, but when I did do some research after the surgery, I didn't research before the surgery. When I did do research, a lot of the videos that popped up were young women who had not had children yet. Which, you know, to each his own, you know, but I just found that very, very interesting. But anyway, because there is a possibility that you won't be able to breastfeed if you don't have, after you get the surgery. So and I was already past that point. I was like, listen, you know, if I'm going to do this, let's do it, because I'm already done with, well, I hope so. I'm done with having children. This wasn't a question that I got, but I do want to say that it's going to be very interesting when I go for this year's mammogram, which is not scheduled until the end of this year. One of the pros to having larger breasts was that because my friends would tell me, because they had their mammograms before I did, they were like, oh my gosh, it is so uncomfortable. And even you just hear the stories before you go in for a mammogram, it's so uncomfortable. Oh my goodness, I couldn't take it. The first time I went to get my mammogram, I asked the woman, I was like, is it over? She was like, yeah, you're done. Because my breast hung so low, they were so big, and they hung, that they just lifted them up and put them on the machine. Like, they were so, this is sad, so long to put them up on the machine. They got every angle they needed to get, and that was it. And I didn't feel any pain whatsoever, no uncomfortableness during maybe like slightly when they turn it to the side, because it's lifting and turned to the side, but no uncomfortableness whatsoever. So this year, because they are smaller and they're sitting up and they're here, I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm already getting nervous from now for, yeah, this year's mammogram. Anyway, guys, if there are any other questions that you would like to know, please feel free to ask me. I am an open book, especially as it pertains to these type of topics. I feel like if I can help someone with my story, if I can answer any questions, that is what I am here to do. Please don't forget to comment. Please don't forget to like, and I will see you next time. Bye.